In the next 48 hours, everything from an economical standpoint is literally going to shift in the click of a finger because President Trump is going to be introducing massive, massive amounts of tariffs on the ironical name of Liberation Day, which will be on April the 2nd. But apart from the tariffs introduced on Liberation Day, we also have a bunch of more economic data that's going to be coming up and creating huge amounts of volatility for the market. So stay tuned until the end of this video if you want to understand exactly what has been going on in Bitcoin within the past 24 hours and what's likely to happen in the next 24 hours. Because trust me, it is much more insane than what you think. But guys, before going into that, we're super close to hitting 50,000 subscribers. If you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please make sure to hit that subscriber button because it would just mean the world to me if we can get to 50,000 subscribers before, let's say, summertime. So if you go ahead and do that, it would mean the world to me. And with that said, let's go straight into initially the Bitcoin price analysis, and then we'll shift into the breaking news updates. So on the weekly time frame, I'm coming to you with a chart that I've never shown before, actually, not even on the Moon Show. But you have some sort of a rising wedge forming, right, with support on the logarithmic time frame and also resistance on a log 10 time frame too. Right now, Bitcoin is trading on the support of this rising wedge after initially breaking to the upside, retesting, failing, and coming back into this wedge. It is super important that Bitcoin holds this $81,000 level of support because if you break below it, then you're going to see something like Bitcoin dominance where you create this rising wedge, you have the fake out. Well, that was to the bottom. And then you come back and then the Bitcoin dominance actually ended up going to the upside. But here it's the complete inverse because the fake out is happening or did happen to the upside. And now if you see a breakdown, then that's likely going to validate it. So you want to hold $81,000 of support regardless of what happens this week with the economic data with the Trump tariffs, because if we break below on a weekly time frame, then it's super likely that we come down to the Fibonacci 0.382 to $73,000 and find support on the previous touch of that wick exactly 1 year ago. So 81K, otherwise $73,000 for Bitcoin. That is as simple as analysis as I can show you. I don't want to get into too much more detail and confuse you, but basically that is what I'm looking for. On the short-term time frame, there is a W pattern forming. I entered this trade over in the Moon Show just as a demonstration, but basically if we get a confirmation above the resistance of 83.6 with a confirmation on the 15-minute, that's super important, then it's very likely that Bitcoin can hit 84.5K. But I would only open this trade if we do see a confirmation towards the upside. If you want to be taking that trade or preparing to take that trade, then you can use the links down in the description below as a sign of support to the channel, which would mean the absolute world. Weeks is available to trade regardless of your geographical location, and you can get a trading deposit bonus of anywhere between 10 to 100 USDT directly airdropped into your account. And guys, if you're on the Moon Show team, for the week's trading competition, I urge you to do your best because we have the largest amount of traders on the world who's currently participating in this trading competition. And in the next 10 days, whoever has the highest trading volume will get prizes of up to 800,000 USDT. So make sure to trade if you guys are using weeks. Try and accumulate some positions. Try to diversify your portfolio as much as you can. If you have any stable coins on the side, we want to be, well, I personally want to be fully in crypto because I think that money as a whole is going to completely debase. So yeah, just as a tip, we could literally win up to $800,000 in prizes, and we have the highest chance of doing so because we have the largest team in the world. So links are down in the description below if you want to participate. But that is the quick Bitcoin analysis on the daily. Altcoins haven't done so much, so no need to get into too much detail with altcoins in particular, although we are getting Solana ETFs, which are doing pretty well, and we will likely see more ETFs to be coming along in the altcoin space because the Solana futures ETF actually did do pretty well in relative to normal traditional ETFs. You don't want to compare it to the Bitcoin ETFs because they're the largest ever in the world. But according to, when you compare it to normal ETFs, then they're doing pretty fine. And that will encourage asset managers to introduce even more altcoin ETFs in the future. But guys, breaking news, right? The CEO of the largest asset manager in the world recently, or in fact, like 1 hour ago, published an annual letter which he shares to shareholders. And it's a 27-page letter. And in this letter, for like a big part of it, he answers the question of, can Bitcoin eat away at the US dollar's reserve status? So this is exactly what he says, right? The most important quote was the following: if the United States doesn't get its debt under control, if deficits keep ballooning, America risks losing the position to digital assets like Bitcoin as reserve currency. That is insane. This is the CEO of BlackRock, this particular asset manager is rumored to be controlling everything around the world. So the CEO of this particular asset manager, who also predicted that Bitcoin would go to $700,000 in the future, 2 months ago in Davos, says that the reserve currency status of the American dollar, which has a market cap of around $130 trillion, could be overtaken by Bitcoin. So I just wanted to highlight how important that is and how ridiculously, insanely bullish that is, that he talks about Bitcoin in this report. And he also talks about tokenization for a majority of this report. And that's unbelievable for Bitcoin and the entire blockchain industry. I think what's happening is Trump is understanding that, okay, if we don't make some change here, the US is going to go bankrupt. So let's implement the Department of Government Efficiency to try and make sure that America doesn't go bankrupt. But as our backup, if the US does go bankrupt, we'll have Bitcoin on the side to save us. So that is insane. Basically, the United States of America is using Bitcoin as a hedge against a potential of them defaulting on their debt. So there's so many critics and so many people in the world that you wouldn't believe still not understanding how Bitcoin is value, and they debate that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value whatsoever. And you, as a watcher of this CryptoKid channel, understand that that is actually not the case. Bitcoin has tremendous amounts of value, and the first largest person that is noticing this is the American government. So if you do not have Bitcoin in your portfolio, I urge you to buy in as soon as possible. Of course, not financial advice, just based off of the topics that I'm talking about in this video alone. And actually, if you do buy now at an inflation-adjusted price, it would be the same sort of level as buying back in 2021 at $69,000. So that was incredible news that I wanted to share. And of course, Larry Fink goes into tokenization and the democratization of financial assets. And he talks about how Swift is incredibly archaic and ancient in its technology, and why all sorts of financial products in the very near future are going to be put on the blockchain. So with that topic also, I think RWA tokens are going to skyrocket in value. I mean, Chainlink only at an $8.9 billion valuation, AVAX only $7.9 billion. Mantra would stay away from because they have huge unlocks coming in this year. Ondo Finance likely going to tokenize the entirety of the Wall Street industry. So RWAs are going to be insane. And even like business opportunities in RWA, you can even think of like, you have all these social media agencies trying to create short-form content for companies that don't produce short-form content. You have AI agencies trying to sell AI software to companies that don't use AI to in their day-to-day business. But you need to understand that every single company in the world, or at least every single major company in the world, is going to be using blockchain technology without even realizing they're using blockchain technology, just like how we use the internet without questioning what we use on a day-to-day basis. So if you have any sort of blockchain expertise, I think an incredible business idea would be to create an agency that shows companies how they can use blockchain within their businesses. And the main sort of software that will allow businesses to do that will be with Chainlink, Avalanche, Ondo Finance, etc. And that's like an over $100 trillion industry. So I think these projects will do incredibly well, and that's why I would be looking to accumulate into those projects if you haven't done so already. Another piece of breaking news was that Michael Saylor bought $1.9 billion of Bitcoin today. I think it's in the top 10 of his transactions, so another major buy-in for Saylor alone. And that is about it in terms of our most important breaking news. I mean, also Eric Trump announced that he's a co-founder of a Bitcoin mining/treasury company. More details will be happening in the next 24 hours. But before ending this video, I want to push into the economic data. So today, or in fact tomorrow, we have the manufacturing data coming out. That is pretty important. Then the jobs opening data tomorrow too. Then Trump's Liberation Day with his tariffs on Wednesday, non-farm employment data on Thursday, jobs report on Friday, and Fed Chair Powell speaking on Friday as well. Of course, the most important one out of all of this is the tariff announcement. And in the past 24 hours, we've been getting some pretty crazy statements from Trump. saying that the Ukraine deal, or hinting that the Ukraine deal could be off again. The team is reporting that the tariffs can be broader than what we initially expected. There's also threats to bomb Iran. He's also said that he was angry and pissed off at Putin. So there's all these crazy, crazy things coming out. Also saying that he wants to impose reciprocal tariffs on every single country that has tariffs on the US, which could affect 25 countries on one singular day. It's pretty insane. And then he said that he wants to run for a third time as president, which would be super unconstitutional. And we covered that on the Moon Show. So insane developments in the past 24 hours. At this point, nobody knows what's going to happen, what the tariffs are exactly going to be. But from our understanding, it's going to impact a lot of countries and put the world in a bit of an interesting situation, and obviously shift the dominance away from the dollar, probably to BRICS in the short term. But let's see if Trump can save America in the short term and repay those debts, because, I mean, it's either that or you continue being the reserve currency of the world, but you're in risk of defaulting and obviously going bankrupt. So I think Trump is taking the approach of saving America from bankruptcy, even though that they may lose momentarily their status as a reserve currency country, but in the long term, it can actually play better for them. So that is the entire situation that we're seeing. Obviously, so much global political uncertainty. Conservative candidate Marine Le Pen in France being sentenced to jail, and so many more things are causing gold to go to new all-time highs to over $3,100 per ounce. And to end off this video, guys, money is going to go to zero. Money is going to completely debase. So if you're saving in dollars, it is the worst thing that you can possibly do. Make sure to save in something like, either Bitcoin or gold. It doesn't really matter. Just don't save in the long term in fiat, because fiat completely depletes in value over time. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it was a long video, but I tried to cramp in all the information that you had to know about this week and what happened in the past 24 hours. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to destroy the like button, subscribe if you're not a crypto kid already. And with that said, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Take care, and as always, bye-bye.